A beautiful evening in Greenville, South Carolina, as we get the first edition of this year's matchup between the Greenville Triumph and North Carolina FC, brought to you by Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System. It's a busy day in USL League One, so we appreciate you tuning in to this game on ESPN+. My name is Mark Schoenster, alongside me, Ross Davenport. North Carolina FC off to a good start here as we see the standings, brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center. And then Greenville started off rough, but suddenly they're in fourth place.
Some major signings, and they've lived up to expectations so far, Mark, as you can see there. Yeah, Greenville, slow start, but 2 wins have brought them right up into the top 5.
Yep, and as I mentioned, they started the year 0-3, 3 losses, but then this past week, the script really turned around for the Greenville Triumph. 5 goals in the span of 2 games, and they were only a couple days apart.
Yeah, they've woken up, and it's mostly been because of this attacking midfield presence. Noah Collado, so many injuries over the last 2 years, scored in 3 straight now. We've seen what he can do in the past when he's been healthy, especially scoring from distance. Lucas Coutinho, confident now, wanting to get that ball on goal. We've seen what he's done as well, living up to what he's brought in to do, Mark, create.
And create they have, and they're going up against a side that has done very well creating in their own right, and it's partially been because of one man who is the first player this season to stand alone at the top of the goal-scoring category.
Listen, Rafa Minsky, one of those guys, when we talk to opposing coaches, you know, all 3 teams he's played for, always a scoring threat, but he's never managed to put it together, Mark, until this season's obviously got off to a great start. Healthy, pace. We talked to John Bradford about him. He's really enjoying himself, motivated, and happy and showing it on the pitch.
4 goals already early on in this season. The Greenville Triumph will be looking to slow him down, but Rafa Mensingen, he has different plans in mind. But we'll see which of them are victorious after 90 whole minutes. It's coming up on the other side of this break. The Greenville Triumph and North Carolina FC lineups and kickoff are coming up next on ESPN+. We'll see you there.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really wanna know.
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
We offer a full array of dental treatment, and what that provides you as a patient is you're able to come to one place and get comprehensive care under one roof.
I've always been greeted with a smile. They know me when I call. I trust them.
We'd love to see you at Wood Creek Dental. Visit us at woodcreekdental.com.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
This USL League One broadcast is presented by Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System. Let's take a look at our starting lineup, brought to you by Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System. Ross Davenport, just one change in this 4-2-3-1.
Yep, Tevin Shaw out of the 18. We're not exactly sure why, but Hassan Gabo comes in for his first pro start at right back. And the Greenville fans will see on the bench Brandon Fricky back in the 18 for the first time since off-season hip surgery.
Fantastic news for Greenville fans, coached by John Hartz. Now let's take a look at the team coached by John Bradford.
Also, oh, go ahead, Mark. Sorry, also one change for the visitors. Daniel Navarro is a big one, though. Daniel Navarro, the captain for such a presence at that center-back spot. He's out this evening, picks up an injury. Gustavo Fernandez comes in to the center-back spot. They've been rotating a little bit back there, so not too much of a difference. Obviously, that potent front three remains intact with Mexican, Anderson, and Perez.
Also a 4-2-3-1 for this side, North Carolina FC. We'll see how these two sides mesh up against each other. We mentioned in the open, Greenville offensively have started to figure it out, and this North Carolina FC team, I mean, they are abundant in wealth offensively.
They made noise in the offseason, but that doesn't always guarantee success, Mark, as we've seen in USL League One. Teams have spent money up top in the past, and it hasn't turned into success, but North Carolina off to a great start. John Bradford knows what he's doing. Alex Anderson, Michigan, two of the most dangerous offensive presences, speed-wise especially, in this league.
Joshua Encarnacion is our head official as we await for the go-ahead here. And there's the whistle at Paladin Stadium. It's looking like Christmas in April right now between the Triumph and North Carolina FC.
Love it, Mark. You mentioned John Bradford, a Furman graduate, back home where he went to college and played his college soccer. Pretty cool for him.
Back on his old stomping grounds. Maybe not Paladin Stadium, but just on the campus.
They do have a nice little soccer stadium. We actually talked to Doug Owen about the potential of them playing there, but it was just not quite big enough. Didn't have quite the infrastructure that the football stadium does. So we just have to deal with these football lines. Now we talked to John Harkes about the lines, the difference it kind of makes, especially in the width he talks. As you can see, there's the big, thick white line, then there's another white line, then there's another white line.
And then there's the yellow line.
So it can be a little confusing for the mind. These players not used to playing on pitches often with these football lines. It takes a little while to get used to. It's the same for both teams though, Mark, although Greenville does get to play half their games with an early foul. These fullbacks tonight are going to have their hands full. Hassan Gabo and Jonah Bigger. Jonah Bigger still in high school, more of an attacking midfielder, but has had to slot in to that left back spot. He's done a great job, all things considered, but this is a big challenge tonight. It's Gabo with another crunching challenge, and that's going to be a second foul. And Gabo, the 20-year-old out of Somalia.
Just his second ever professional appearance. Gabo, 20 years old. Flooding into Rafa Mensingen. 4 goals on the season so far.
Not sure about that one, Mark. Gabo certainly got the ball first. It wasn't too much nasty intent in that tackle. He's pleading his case, trying to avoid an early yellow here.
Will be a free kick for North Carolina FC.
Mentioned Tevin Shaw, normally defensive midfielder. He's been filling in nicely at that right back spot, but no sign of him tonight. Gabo did come off the bench in the last one for him. Nate Schultz is in the 18 tonight. The likely starter at right back until Noah Frankie gets healthy as well. Just so many injuries at the back. Still have Smith out as well. Daniel Wu back healthy in the 18 today. Starting to get healthy. That's why those 2 wins are so crucial.
It'll be Mensingen all by himself taking it, and it doesn't get by the 2-man wall of Coutinho and Aaron Walker. Actually, it's Devin Boyce that was with him.
Looking for Alex Anderson, I think, who was in a ton of space at the front post. Rafa just snatched it a little bit.
And Anderson harassing Gabo there. It's 2-on-1. Anderson wins the battle. Alex Anderson, that's a poor touch, and it rolls out.
Greenville got lucky there. Alex Anderson turned on the jets. John Harkes was talking about Alex's first few steps and the speed that he brings, not just over 10, 20 yards, but over those first 5 yards. Alex Anderson could continue as he did there when Gabo would be gone in a heartbeat.
You might be counting your blessings that this happened in the 3rd minute of the game as opposed to the 35th once you kind of get used to the way the ball rolls on this pitch.
We'll see how this game goes. If Nate Schultz is able to go even 20, 30 minutes, maybe he comes on a little later. We're not sure exactly his status. He is training in full, though. Obviously hasn't seen much action of late with his injury.
Well, with all these injury concerns and issues that Greenville have faced early this season, they go in Wednesday of last week here at Paladin Stadium, get the 3-0 victory over Central Valley Fuego. Then just a few days later, go on the road to Lexington and get a 2-0 victory with the caveat of a red card early in that game. But still, given the circumstances of where Greenville is at right now, impressive to get 6 points in 2 games like that. John Harkes mentioned that they were pretty exhausted going into the Fuego game, and they left it all out on the line as this one slips through for Perez, and Jared Mazzola gets to it.
Yeah, another Wednesday game coming up this week against one of the top teams in the league, Charlotte. Things don't get any easier for John Harkes. He was talking about it during the week, just how brutal their early season schedule is. If they can get through it and start to get healthy, perhaps pick up another win here, maybe give them a free shot on Wednesday, if you just get a point on the road, that'd be huge. Some people were expressing some concern about Greenville's start, but those that have been around the league since the start of this league, they know that you can't count this team out for more than a few games. They haven't really had extended spells of real poor play over the years. It's always going to be just a matter of time. I'm surprised it happened this early considering the injury situation, though. I think everybody was very impressed at those last 2 wins, all things considered.
Asking us to replicate that Fuego result 3 days later is impossible. That's what Harkes said about his side, and he said so he knew that they were going up against an organized team in Lexington, and he admitted that they gave us some trouble. And then he said, but including Nico Brown, former Greenville Triumph player, really stepped up in that game. And he mentioned his team's mission was to be disciplined in their shape, manage legs, and then if an opportunity falls to you, then you take advantage of it. And that certainly was the case in that Lexington game. I think it was a textbook road win.
Listen, they did get a bit of a break, as you mentioned, with that red card. Also, Fuego coming in not on the best of form early this season. So they did get a break, but they had to take care of business still. And obviously, injuries hampering them themselves. So certainly 2 wins to be proud of. But this is the real test tonight, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, this team just came off an impressive victory over the Chattanooga Red Wolves. And when I asked John Bradford about how he felt about his team's last game, he said he was overall pleased. He mentioned how great the combination play was going forward and also collecting their first clean sheet of the season, especially against a side that they had, up to that point, not defeated yet in League One. And he said that, but with all the good positives, they were a penalty save separated from a 1-1 draw going into half. They were a shot off the post away from it being 2-2. And he said there's still things to clean up, and we're not satisfied yet.
Yeah, listen, no easy wins in this league, Mark. Whether home or away, I don't care. All these teams are going to be super competitive all year. Well, this matchup hasn't been competitive over the years, Mark. NCFC have only won once in 7 meetings. They've never scored more than 1 goal against Greenville.
As that throw-in gets headed away, and then Coutinho is able to more effectively blast it out. This one played forward for a running Gavilanes. This will be the first foray. Gavilanes shoots, and ultimately not too dangerous shot for the young Nick Holliday to handle.
Yeah, definitely not the right decision there by Alan Gavilanes. Suddenly found himself in a ton of space there. You'd happen to think he would have tried to take on the defender and at least get a little closer before challenging Nick Holliday.
Mensingen will play it over to the right-hand side.
We had a great chat with John Bradford about Nick Holliday this week and his future thoughts on where he may go. We'll talk a little bit about that later, perhaps.
And some interesting teams he's worked out with.
Yes. Obviously been involved in the program here as a potential starter since the age of 15.
Yeah.
It's really his first run of extended starts, now at 17. Still got to work on his decision making, said John Bradford. Obviously so physically gifted, talented. I'm not sure who that was, that Jonah Bigger going over the hoardings.
Yeah, I feel like when I started preparing for this game, I look at Nick Holliday and I go, oh, Nick Holliday, he's been around for a while now. He's got to be older now. And then I look and he's 17. And he's just, it's crazy to think that, yeah, he was 15 when he got thrown into that game against Chattanooga 2 years ago and had record-breaking amounts of shots thrown his way. I'll never forget that game. That one was one to remember. So as we said, a good week for Greenville this past week. John Harkes said the results are good and getting wins and clean sheets are good, but we also have been celebrating the small achievements of each player and of the team gradually getting better game by game.
Lee Perez's dad, I think he took perhaps a loose elbow from Evan Lee. The ball went out of play. Let's take a look at it here on the replay. Yes, no whistle, no flag for the foul, for the challenge, excuse me, by Evan Lee. The foul will in fact go Greenville's way. Louis Perez, what a pickup. Such a great talent at FC Tucson last year.
One of my favorite players to watch last year across the league.
This North Carolina offense potent. But we'll see if that loss of Daniel Navarro makes a difference at the back tonight. I mentioned Fernandez and Garcia have been rotated in there at the centre back spot early this season. This is the third start for Gustavo Fernandez. See if Leo Castro could mix it up with those two there back there. Loss of Navarro, the captain normally for this NCFC team.
Yeah, that's a big piece missing.
He's such a big physical presence back there, leader. Obviously, the captain is the vocal leader back there as well. That's really where you're really going to see the difference tonight, I think, is missing that vocal leader back there.
And I don't know if this really matters in the game of soccer, but he also brings a little bit of a fear factor, too.
He does.
Like, he's an imposing guy.
You look at him and you don't want to get involved. That's for sure.
So we get knocked away for the first corner kick of the evening for the Greenville Triumph. It's PNC's corner for kids. And it'll be one Devin Boyce to bring it in 10 minutes into this game.
Not sure who wants to take it.
Well, he brought it over there, and I assumed he'd be the one to take it, but...
Tyler Polak coming over to take it. Gamelanias normally takes most of the corners for Greenville. If my memory serves me right, they're going to go short, it looks like. Perhaps a training ground move here.
Well, they've been working on their set pieces.
Yeah, John Harks. Well, listen, the history of Greenville at set pieces, even since day one, has not been particularly good. They've scored the occasional goal from corners, free kicks not so much. John said it's something they've really been working on this week. See if it works here. No, that delivery is not.
We're going to whistle.
Offside, anyway. He was offside anyway.
Well, I think Polak was offside when they gave it right back to him.
John Harks. He'll be unhappy at that, to say the least. But as much as they worked on it this week, frustrating.
Got the battle of the two Johns in League One. I remember when there was like 4 or 5 of them across League One, but now it's just John Bradford and John Harks.
Yeah, we lost John Parman for now. Maybe we'll see him back at some point in the future with FC Tucson.
I think we've also had John Milleracey, John Gallus.
That's right.
I think there's 1 or 2 others that off the top of my head, I'm not remembering, but we've had quite a few. When we talked to John Bradford, he was just coming off their special signing day ceremony. Of course, such a tight relationship between the Academy and the first team for North Carolina FC. So they make a point to spend time to recognize the guys in the Academy who are going to get the chance to maybe have an opportunity to play with the first team at points this year.
That's one thing with the amount of talent that John Bradford's brought in that he's had to handle this year. He's dealing with some of the younger players that did get opportunities over the last couple of years. Won't as much this year because of the veteran talent that John has brought in. So to manage that, you talked about. Obviously, the wins have come, so I think everybody's going to be happy as long as that's going.
Currently sitting on 11 points with this result as a draw as it stands right now. Sitting at second behind the Independents, whom I believe are still all tied up with the Mingos up in Madison. Busy day in League One. 10 teams playing. So, once again, we appreciate you choosing to watch this game if you're not a North Carolina Greenville fan. If you are, then obviously you're going to tune into this match. But if you're just a League One aficionado, there you go. Get all the syllables in there.
People have multiple screens these days, Mark. There's no reason you shouldn't have multiple games on at the same time. If you're true,
you're right.
League One aficionado. Get the iPad going, get the computer going, get the TV on. Audio's another thing.
Get all your money's worth from ESPN Plus. It'll be another PNC's corner for kids. This one will be Devin Boyce, or at least he's feigning that. They'll play it short again. Gavilanes swings this one inside. It's headed straight up in the air by Maldonado. Things around a couple more times. And here's Anderson. A little bit clunky here. Castro able to pop it forward for Walker. Walker back to Castro. Castro trying to get it inside. It's deflected away. A sliding body got in the way of that one. I believe that was David Garcia who ended up interfering with that pass.
Assigned Abo. Alex Anderson breathing down his neck. What was that? That was fancy.
I couldn't even tell exactly what limbs were flying there.
Sangaba was under all sorts of pressure from Alex Anderson, as he's going to be all night. You certainly see them focusing on that left side. Understandable with a guy making his first pro start. Gabo, those first couple of fouls, has done okay so far.
That will be escorted out of play and will roll out for a goal kick. John Harkes, when I got to talk to him about North Carolina FC, I asked about just how dangerous this offense is, and he ended up just reciting different names on this team. And I think that's the big thing, is just how talented this offensive unit is for North Carolina. And he mentioned Anderson has so much pace and can explode any moment. Luis Perez is such a big add for them. Rafa Mensingen as well. He said Arriaga, Cervania, Maldonado share space well. He said their fullbacks also come forward, so they have a ton of attacking options going forward. And he's saying we're hoping that we can catch them in transition, given that fact, and see if we can maybe give them a little taste of their own medicine. Just so potent everywhere.
No, they showed in that Chattanooga game they can score in many different ways. Anderson's pace off the back shoulder is something that you don't really see too often in this league, chasing onto those long balls. Another thing you don't see very often in this league is people with MLS experience. Anderson as well, and former Sounder. Injuries there really hurt him. Been healthy here the last couple of seasons. And John Bradford talked about him and Rafa Mensingen as two guys that are having fun. For them, it's very important. As anybody that plays sports knows, if you're having fun and getting game time, you're going to be a lot more effective. It's difficult in a league like this where some coaches have rotations, right? The injuries happen, the packed schedules, and that leads to those injuries. Motivation is a big factor, especially when some of these guys aren't making massive checks, right?
Right.
That's never a motivating factor in this league, that's for sure. Tyler Polak. Great to see him back to his old self, Mark, right? But had injuries last year. So strong at the left back spot now, having to move into the center back spot with the injuries, and John Harkes raving about the job he's done. Even considering leaving him there, right?
This one punched away by Mazzola, but he was interfered with by Garcia. So it'll be a free kick for Greenville.
It was almost going to be hard to move Tyler Polak out of that spot because of his distribution skills in the center of the field, so key. Polak, the first signing in Greenville history. Still around in his 5th season.
Yeah. Integral to the image of the Greenville Triumph, that's for certain. Scouting out Greenville, John Bradford. First off, and many coaches do this, make a point about how good of a job John Harkes has done with his side. He mentioned, I watched one of their other games, and I believe he was talking about the Fuego game when he said this. He saw the list of injuries Greenville had before kickoff. So he's aware of how much they've been handling here as Mensingen gets taken down inside the penalty area, and there's a point to the spot.
Well, we said the fullbacks were going to have their hands full tonight, and Hassan Gabo. So Rafa Mensingen may have gone down a little easily, but you feel that contact from behind and you go down, you're going to get the call more often than not. And Hassan Gabo, welcome to pro soccer, son.
Gabo in his first pro start, given the yellow card and is guilty of the penalty awarding foul. Look at Rafa Mensingen here.
See, the hand over the shoulder is what the referee sees initially, right? And then the contact into the lower leg, upper leg of Rafa Mensingen. You're going to get that call more often than not.
So North Carolina FC with a big chance to take a lead here on the road at Paladin Stadium. We'll see who goes up to take it. They've got so many great options. Your guess is probably Rafa, since he's the one who drew the foul, but I mean, if they have a designated penalty kick taker, then why not roll with it? But it will be Rafa Mensingen, looking for goal number 5 on the season. The Brazilian up against Mazzola. Just in his 2nd year with the Greenville Triumph. Mensingen goes up, and it's saved by Mazzola. The follow through, it goes in. Lucky deflection or not, it's 1-0 up for North Carolina FC.
Yeah, it's disappointing for Jared Mazzola there. good save. Wasn't the best of penalties from Rafa Minsigan, but the finish, nobody from Greenville Triumph tracking back. It's Luis Perez. I'm sure we'll see it on the replay.
Goal number 2.
I think he did.
Well, I mean, he was running towards it, but that one pinged just straight off of his boot. So Mensingen will not get his 5th goal of the season, but this save will deflect right to Luis Perez, and it rolls right in. So it's 1-0 up for North Carolina FC. Not straight from the penalty, but it's a byproduct of it.
Yeah, we didn't get a good look at it on the replay there, but Perez just reacting first. Obviously, a bit of luck involved with the ball bouncing right to you. So it went the right way. It wasn't a great penalty for Mensingen, a little too central.
Well, that's why you're all lined up to collect that rebound. Never know where it's going to fall. I talked to John Bradford last year about drawing penalties because there's something Olex Anderson and Garrett McLaughlin did really well, and now Rafa Mensingen getting in on that. And I asked him, what's it take when it comes to drawing penalties? Like, what's the secret sauce to having so many go your way? And he mentioned it's sort of a mentality thing. He said the biggest key is to move with intention. If you go in with the intention to make plays, you're forcing the defenders to make a decision, which is what happened there with Hassan Gabo. And you're gonna put yourself in a situation to draw more penalties that way.
I thought NCFC would really attack those fullbacks tonight. Looking at the stats, 89.2% of the attacks have come on the wings so far tonight, only 10.8% in the middle for NCFC. Exactly what we thought might happen. Here's another one coming down the wing.
Luis Perez, the goal scorer. Squares it across to Mensingen. Mensingen curls it, it's off the post.
Jared Mazzola was just rooted to the spot. What a strike from the Brazilian, first time. Still not dead yet.
Mensingen heads it back centrally. Nodded away by Boyce. Cervania will tap it back. Here they come again. Good touch. The back heel from Anderson. Flores Blanco. Won't get it very far as Boyce clears it.
Mensingen could have 6 goals by now, Mark.
Let's take a look at that opportunity again. It's a great ball.
First time strike. Mazzola was just beaten by the curve of that ball. Mazzola was waving his finger like it was going wide. Counting his blessings that one hit the woodwork. The score remains 1-0. All NCFC these last 5 or 10 minutes here.
Let's see how the Greenville Triumph respond here after 2 straight clean sheets, find themselves down a goal. Here's Boyce working forward. Castro, Gabo. His ball left something to be desired there. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for the latest select products, specials, and more. Select the player's choice. So that's where we stand. Over 20 minutes into this game, the difference. A Luis Perez goal in the 19th minute off the save from a Rafa Mensingen penalty. We'll see if this Greenville team can muster something up here. North Carolina looking the more dangerous side, even after the goal. Just so potent all across the board. Whistle from Joshua Encarnacion. Let's look at the foul again.
Tyler Pollack just a split second too late.
Wearing that captain's armband, as you previously mentioned already, in the center back spots. comes in, punched away by Mazzola.
John Hart's talking about Polak, said he's such a humble, noble guy. Quiet leader by example. Always puts himself on the line, never hides.
Nelson Flores Blanco. Throw this one in. And Cervania is tangled up with Gabo. Gabo already on a yellow card and a couple fouls. And at this point, I think North Carolina FC smells some blood in the water, and they're going to keep attacking it.
100%, Mark mentioned earlier, wisely so, attacking Hazan Gabo in his first pro start. Resulted indirectly in a goal, almost the second one from that side as well, with that one-timer from Mensigan. They hit the post. Chance to serve one in here.
Mensigan swings it in, and it's caught by Mazzola. Jeremy Mazzola will quickly punt this one forward. Pilato loses it. And they're going to call a foul there, and it's going to be a yellow card on Polak. I don't need to see that one again on the replay.
As well, might just be a case of being two-footed. Greenville Triumph shouldn't have gotten himself in that position in the first place. It was a lot of backwards header from Aaron Walker that got themselves in trouble. A little loose from Pilato. And he got the ball, but those two-footed challenges, even if you get the ball, are more than likely going to result in at least a free kick. As you can see there, Jaden Cervania suggesting the foot up was the reason for it. Change his decision, boys. Perez still down. Oh, it's not Rui Perez, excuse me. Gustavo Fernandez.
So that's two members of this Greenville back line now on yellows. Just a little over 25 minutes into this game.
Yeah, things are not trending particularly well right now for the home team, Mark. A little concerning. Certainly going to want to at least not have it get worse here before halftime. I know still 19 minutes to go, but mentioned smelling the blood, Mike. You can almost smell that second goal coming. If Greenville aren't careful here, you can see the Rudy River Riot get a little upset at things, understandably so.
North Carolina will look to keep those mouths shut, especially if they can tack in a second one here.
Gustavo Fernandez obviously feeling that challenge.
His fourth year in USL League One, Gustavo Fernandez. It's his second year with North Carolina FC.
DJ Benton and Max Flick on the bench, not natural center backs. Luke Kroll brought in from England. He's still not fit to play yet. Flick does play some center back. Hasn't played much this season.
I was about to say, I think I remember Flick playing some center back in 2021.
Gustavo Fernandez appears to be okay. Deep breath from John Bradford, I'm sure.
We'll see what they do here from the set piece. This one taken directly, and it's off the mark. So Jared Mazzola will put it in play. We chatted about Mazzola a little bit with John Harks, and he said that you want to give him that chance to show what he can do. He's making quality saves, and his distribution is so good. Talking about how much he gives Greenville going forward. He said his communication is growing with each game, and he's starting to become a good organizer of that back line. And we can't blame him for that first goal going in. It's always a tough situation to ask of a keeper.
Shout out to the NCFC watch party tonight, the London Bridge Pub in Raleigh.
Well, will be enjoying themselves so far. Been a pretty positive start for them.
Sure. Greenville have looked dangerous occasionally in the final third. They've had some solid possession. They just haven't really been able to test Nick Holliday as of yet.
it sounds. I believe Ford Madison just scored a goal in their game, which is great for the rest of League One. I know it's early in the season, but anytime you see the top team on the ropes, it just means the table's going to get more congested, which as third-party observers of this league, Ross, we always love to see the chaos build and build.
The last 2 seasons have just been complete chaos in League One.
Certainly makes our jobs fun.
Checking the stats from that game. Madison with 13 shots. 7 for Charlotte. 5 on goal for Madison.
I'll say Austin Pack has started off his campaign for goalkeeper of the year very strong.
Goalkeeping in general has been very strong in the league this year, Mark. I will say he's been very strong in League One. Greenville have had their string of solid goalkeeping. Christensen last year before retiring. Dallas J, obviously. Jared Mazzola has been getting better every game, John Harkes has said. Great distributor, and that, speaking of John Harkes, that's a yellow card for him apparently. Not happy with Joshua Encarnacion for some reason.
That's his second straight game with a yellow.
John Harkes not afraid to mince his words, right?
Uh-oh.
Referees know.
I think Devin Boyce just gave a push.
Not the first Greenville game with a shabby match this season, Mark.
You don't need to tell me that.
Aaron Walker incident that led to a red card in the Madison game for Onan. Let's see if we can see what happened here. Lucas Coutinho on the ball. Foul there for sure. Is it reaction from Coutinho?
He's missed out on the push from Devin Boyce there. Gave a two-hand shove. Walker and Noah Pilata communicating while this gets all sorted out.
The result of all that is a Greenville free kick.
So a yellow card was given to Devin Boyce for that push, but it's still a free kick for Greenville since that push took place after the dead ball. That's Devin Boyce's third yellow card of the season. Let's see what Greenville can do here on the set piece, trying to find a response. Gavilanes floats this one up, and that one came down. Bigger was there for it. Couldn't make clean contact, though.
Yeah, Greenville really do miss the big body of Brandon Fricke on these set pieces from the wing. There's always a threat to get ahead on it. Bigger was a great delivery from Gavilanes. Bigger just couldn't get at the end of it.
A sliding Devin Boyce there. Makes contact with the ball, but nothing too much of it. Walker with the impact, winning it back for Greenville. Pilato. It's for Coutinho. Tried the threading pass to Gavilanes, but it's going to be cleared out. Some promising moments here for the Triumph. Here's Polak.
Just the one shot on target so far. That was that comfortable save from distance. Shot by Alan Gavilanes. Holly didn't have to do much with.
Some entanglements there. It'll be a free kick for North Carolina FC. Talking to John Bradford, I told him what my assessment of his team has been these past few years. Obviously in 21, they were a super young side. And then in 22, we added some veteran talent to surround this team. And then this year, he doubled down on that. And now they're incredibly deep with great League One talent all across the board. And I asked him, you know, would he say that's the difference with this year's squad? And he said, well, yeah, we've had a lot of talent this year, but we were incredibly selective about the guys we got. Needed to be correct fits and be the right kind of quality. This ball comes in and it's cleared away. He said in 2021, it was no secret that we were trotting out a super inexperienced side. And to a more minor extent, the same thing last year. And he mentioned the reason they've been going this route, despite, of course, how tightly paired up they are with their academy. It's not exactly a conducive learning environment to throw someone into the professional ranks without proper footballers around you. It makes more sense to maybe plug in a guy at a time as opposed to having to trot out 4 or 5 of them on a given game, because then you know what to expect from the players around you, which obviously is so important in this sport.
Yeah, in this offseason, it was one of those situations where every North Carolina signing, you went, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the names they were bringing in. So throwing a bit more money in this season, in the year where, because of the CBA, some teams are cutting back on rosters. John Bradford saying it's one of the largest he's had.
So we played out wide, and a little bit of a double team will work to the benefit of Greenville.
Normally teams in the offseason, you have perhaps 1, maybe 2 signings where you say, ooh. North Carolina had 3 or 4 of those.
Cervania steps to his right. Plays it to the top of the 18 where he only finds Noah Pilato. That challenge there.
Could have been nasty. These players up on their feet, thankfully.
Cervania tried to split the difference. And it's another point to the spot.
Aaron Walker is saying what I'm thinking. I don't. He tried to split the defenders. The Greenville defenders seem to have position. Another penalty for Greenville. Encarnacion receiving some information again from Jared Mazzola. Let's take another look at it here. Cervania tried to split the defenders. I mean, Gabo. Sort of half stuck his foot in there, but I don't think there was enough there for a penalty kick.
I mean, I was not anticipating a point to the spot there.
It was always going to be a difficult run for Cervania to do anything with, especially maintain possession. He was looking for it, Mark, right? I think that's the word, the phrase we need.
Yeah.
I see Tyler Pollack pleading his case as well as Jared Mazzola.
Well, here's the other question. If Gabo's the guilty party, he already has a yellow card, and
He's lucky.
I don't think they're issuing a second one despite it being a penalty call. He's not been given his second booking. Rafa Mensingen will go up once again. Missed his first penalty attempt. Now he has a chance to make it 5 on the season. Once again, one-on-one with Jared Mazzola. He goes up in this one, he puts away. It's 2-0 North Carolina FC. And Rafa Mensingen further puts himself in front of the League One pack. So 2 penalty goals, or at least 2 coming from penalties for North Carolina FC. They've been the more dangerous side and now have a comfortable advantage.
They certainly deserved the lead, Mark. I don't know whether they deserved the 2-0 lead, but only 1 shot for Greenville. Just hate to see games being decided in this fashion.
Certainly.
The penalty was certainly deserved. I'm always going to be careful when I knows how to play. Listen, you can't fault North Carolina, right? They knew the game plan. They wanted to attack Hassan Gabo. They've done so, and it's resulted in a 2-0 lead. Can't take that away from them, despite that penalty's decision there.
So it's at a 2-0 spot now. Very comfortable. This is the first time North Carolina FC's ever scored multiple goals in a game against Greenville.
John Harks certainly with some work to do at halftime here. That pass there really sums things up. Greenville just a little discombobulated, a little shocked. Got to get their focus back on the game. This is John Bradford there in blue.
Anderson.
So I think John Harks knew this game was going to be a tough challenge. Now we're going to have another yellow card perhaps for the bench.
And a couple players stepping up.
Going to go for an assistant coach.
The cards are piling up for Greenville. understandably so to an extent, been a frustrating one for them so far here at home.
Most of Encarnacion's calls outside the penalty area have been fine, in my view. The second penalty decision, perhaps not, but the cards have been deserved. I understand the frustration from Greenville, but a lot of it is perhaps due to their lack of potency in the final third down the other end. Those of us that have played sports know what these games can be like. It seems like everything is going the other way. Decisions, more small decisions, big decisions. Obviously, we did get the one off the post, not a decision, but a bit of flow going Greenville's way. That could have been 2-0 there, right, Mark?
Yeah.
It would have been a deserving 2-0 lead for that if that had gone in from Rafa.
Certainly. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+. The home to the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. That ball slipped inside, but ultimately cleared away by Gustavo Fernandez. ScanSource is accelerating growth for partners and calling Greenville home for 30 years. About 5 minutes plus whatever stoppage time we get added here, and we'll have some halftime content coming your way on ESPN+.
Greenville's XG at the half, nothing happens in these last 4 minutes, 0.01. I'll tell you how ineffective they've been in the final third. Until these last 2 wins, it was a problem.
Patino, and that one did not come off the boot right. And that'll be a goal kick. Holiday. Our touch base, 17 years old. I asked John Bradford how he connects with his teammates, because I mean, most of the guys that he's playing with, I mean, some of them have got wives, families. I mean, they're professionals, and I mean, this guy's still like worrying about his SATs and whatnot at 17 years old. And I just wanted to kind of get how he gels with the rest of his teammates. And John Bradford said, well, he has to earn their respect. And well, he had a penalty save last game, and that's certainly gonna be a great way to do that. He mentioned, just look at how they all came over to him after he made that stop. That's exactly how it would have been if he were any other teammate. I also spent a moment to celebrate it in the film room the next day when they were able to watch it. And he also did bring up, though, that these players around Nick Holiday were aware of the situation coming in, that they were going to be playing with Nick Holiday in goal. And he said, I told players we were signing that he would be the goalkeeper, and as this one looks promising for Greenville, Patino brings it outside. Gabo.
I think for any 17-year-old Marcus, right, you got to act like a pro, even if you're not as old as many pros.
Yeah.
You act like a pro. Act like you deserve to be there at the age of 17. We mentioned earlier, we talked to John Bradford about the future plans of Nick Holiday. He did mention that he's expected to go to Germany at some point, the breeding ground of where so many U.S. players have taken their game to the next level. So he's been training, he's trained over the years with 3 different German teams. He's been learning German over the last year and a half. So at some point, when he's ready, Holiday will likely make a move to Germany. See where he ends up.
Guten Tag, Nick Holiday.
It's great to see.
Yeah,
You get the chance to play there, especially at the U23 level, even if not at the full, with the full senior team. But the U23 level over there is obviously so exceptional. They give the U.S. keepers chances to play. That's all you want. If you're going to go that far, right, is to play, not sit on the bench of a senior team.
Yeah, I
Especially
believe
at that age.
I believe Zach Steffen took a trip into Germany at one point in time, and obviously Gio Reyna and Christian Pulisic, both through Borussia Dortmund, flourished as players. Although I don't believe he's worked with Borussia Dortmund, he's worked with a couple of Bundesliga sides. obviously, as you mentioned, yeah, he's 17, but he's very talented at 17. As this one nearly given away for Olex Anderson, Mazzola smelled the danger and came off his line to clear it away. Talking about young goalkeepers, Mazzola just 24 years old, a young professional himself. We're going to get 2 minutes of stoppage time here. And at the end of the day, and John Bradford ended with this, I mean, if you're good enough, it doesn't really make a difference what you get onto the soccer pitch. If you're good enough, you're old enough. I've heard that phrase a couple of times here in League One.
We saw the success of North Texas right in the first year in League One, winning the title with so many teenagers.
Might get a yellow card here, the first one for North Carolina FC. Mikey Maldonado, wearing the captain's armband, will get his 3rd yellow of the season.
Maldonado moving from the wing into that defensive midfield role. John Bradford said he's really thrived there. So it's just clumsy from behind. See, he was trying to slow down, but Aaron Walker, great positioning. Earned that yellow card with that positioning.
Confirmation on the 2 minutes of added time brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep. Still getting up there is Aaron Walker.
Missed some time in training this week. A bit of a hamstring issue, but good to go today. See what Joe Marks thinks about any changes at the break. He has done it occasionally. Labovitz sometimes comes on at the break. It's a good attacking option. Just try and change things up.
Gabo with a turn. Ends up turning into Nelson Flores Blanco there, but it will be a corner kick. PNC's corner for kids. The Triumph will look to have the deficit here before the halftime whistle. Swings it in and cleared out immediately.
Set piece woes for Greenville. Got to beat that first man.
Holiday is able to bring that one down over top of Castro.
It's a long way to come for Nick Holiday. He's not the tallest keeper in the world. Did well though. Grab it on the 2nd attempt. Fernandez down again.
So that's going to be the halftime whistle. Now, looks like that's Gustavo Fernandez, who's down again for the 2nd time in the game. Slow to get up after that collision. It was him, Holiday, and Leo Castro all involved in that last moment of the half. But with that in mind, 2 penalty kicks are the difference in this one. North Carolina FC up 2-0 over the Greenville Tribe. Whether you appreciate a game being separated by penalties or not, the visitors have been the definite stronger side after 45 minutes. And we'll see what these two teams bring in the second 45 minutes of action. We'll step aside for a break. When we come back, we got halftime content coming your way on ESPN+.
So I was learning how to be a nurse, and my entire unit was full of COVID patients. I mean, baptized by fire with no fire extinguisher. And I think, if I was in this position, how would I want somebody to treat me? And to me, that's the most important part.
The South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars each year to help students like Kennedy prepare for their dream careers.
I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing, 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early, giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees, and helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
Halftime here at Paladin Stadium in Greenville, South Carolina. North Carolina FC with a 2-0 victory over the hosting Greenville Triumph. As we do each week, if you've been tuning on halftime, you know how the drill goes. It's time to give you some recaps, so let's get right into it. Let's take you through the action from Saturday of last week, starting with the Independence and Central Valley Fuego. The Jacks at the top of the table and looking to stay in that spot. Nick Spielman flicking this one in and giving the Jacks the 1-goal lead in the 29th minute. That would end up being the difference in the game. 1-0 would be your final score between these two sides. No late game Villian Bijev magic here, but he'd come awfully close off the woodwork. Right post, Villian Bijev nearly puts it in. It's outside the stretch of Austin Pack. And then we also did have a red card in this game late in the match. Adrian Vera sent off the pitch. And it was at a moment where Central Valley Fuego were starting to really conjure up some chances, some moments to find an equalizer. But anytime you go down a man, that's going to deflate your sails even just a little bit. Then later that day, Lexington and Greenville, you'd see here a straight red card challenge. Cesar Murillo, the former Greenville Triumph player, the one guilty of it.
Download the official USL app now on Apple and Google Play Store. The Triumph and Joe Robertson and Son Roofing are honoring local heroes throughout the 2023 season. Do you know a deserving first responder in the upstate? Help us thank those who do so much for our community and nominate a first responder by going to greenvilletriumph.com. We live and breathe this game. Every day.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Drive driving through days and nights. Won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know,
Welcome back here for this matchup between Greenville and North Carolina FC. 2-0 your scoreline after 45 minutes. If you're just tuning in from the Charlotte-Madison game, we welcome you. I apologize that you didn't get any goals in your game. We have 2 of them from the byproduct of penalty kicks here in this one. As we take a look at the news and notes, first off, I think the big news this week, President Jake Edwards, 10 years as the president of the USL, 8 years as the president, 10-year tenure. And, I mean, what an amazing job, how much growth the USL has had in this past decade.
No, it's come such a long way, and even no matter what happens from here on out, he has to take some credit for the future of this league. They were pace to start.
Well, and then the other 2, they're pertaining to our 2 teams here. 12 Academy players for North Carolina FC, looking to get the chance to break in with the first squad. Meanwhile, Lucas Coutinho, I mean, he had a fantastic week last week, earning him the Player of the Week spot, especially in his game against the Fuego. But with that in mind, let's take a look at the upcoming games. Starting with tonight, Union Omaha, Northern Colorado should be a good one. And then we got a ton of Wednesday fixtures going into Friday. It's a bit of a weird week scheduling-wise.
Yeah, Hailstone looking to continue that clean sheet streak. Greenville again in action on Wednesday against the Independence. You mentioned Mark drew 0-0 earlier tonight.
Yeah, you want to tune in to Fuego Knoxville tomorrow. Will be a lone game in USL League One. Should be some fun. I believe it's the first rematch of the season across League One. Don't fact check me on that just yet. I still need to go and look, but in my head, I remember that being the case. And now let's take a look at the scoreboard from what is a jam-packed day in USL League One. So, first off, like I just mentioned, Madison-Charlotte did end up being 0-0. I think whatever goal we heard Wyndham may have been called back. Chattanooga-Lexington 0-0, so we're the only game so far with goals in it. And then Tormenta and Richmond hasn't started yet because there's a weather delay in Statesboro, so big shocker.
Potential 8:50 kickoff. Should be an exciting game if they do get that one going.
Yeah, first time that the Shield winner and the championship winner face in a game, because usually they're one and the same in years prior. So kind of a cool little interesting twist to that game. But with that in mind, I think we're around the end of our halftime content here, Ross, outside of highlights and stats, which we'll see on the other side of this break. We hope that we'll see you then. Take another quick break, and we'll catch you for the second 45 here on ESPN+.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
So I was learning how to be a nurse, and my entire unit was full of COVID patients. I mean, baptized by fire with no fire extinguisher. And I think, if I was in this position, how would I want somebody to treat me? And to me, that's the most important part.
The South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars each year to help students like Kennedy prepare for their dream careers.
Fifth Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing, 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early, giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees, and helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
Tonight's USL League One broadcast is presented by Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System. As the sun is setting here at Paladin Stadium, 2-0 your scoreline in favor of North Carolina FC over the Greenville Triumph. Welcome you back here on ESPN Plus. Mark Schoenstert and Ross Davenport are here with you behind the mics, and we'll take you back through the first 45 minutes of action. An interesting first half, and a first half very much leaning in favor of the visiting North Carolina FC.
Yeah, for the first 5 minutes we saw the visitors attacking that left side. Both goals, this cracking effort we'll get to in a minute from Rafa off the post, came from this left side. Gabo was under pressure from the first minute, gave up the penalty there. That was probably deserved. Challenge from behind and the yellow card for at least the third foul on Gabo. Not just for the penalty, Mazzola pleading his case. Almost going to win it, but Mazzola would have an impact here with the save, and then this one just sort of hit his knee, I think. I don't even think he hit his foot.
It deflects off of Mazzola, and then it deflects off of Perez and goes in for a goal. Hey, half the battle is positioning, and he was in the right place at the right time.
Luck involved, but North Carolina deserved the lead. This was beautiful effort from Rafa Minskin that almost curled inside Jared Mazzola's far post off the woodwork.
Some good luck for North Carolina, followed by some bad luck there. And then here, the second penalty call. Now, you be the judge of whether you believe this is a deserved penalty call. But one way or another, Joshua Encarnacion makes the decision, and Rafa puts this one away cleanly.
I'll defend Joshua Encarnacion a little bit on this. Hassan Gabo's problem there is he turns his back into the attacker. Does clip him. Certainly a bit of looking for the penalties, no doubt. Your halftime stats.
He's presented by Warehouse Services Incorporated. I mean, possessions in favor of Greenville, but just about every other number on this sheet tells you that it was a North Carolina FC-centric 45 minutes.
4 yellow cards for Greenville. John Hart will have to keep an eye on that. He doesn't want to lose anybody going into Wednesday's big tilt at Charlotte. See if that has any impact on the substitutions here in the second half.
1.69 expected goals for North Carolina. For Greenville, 0.01. Just haven't had anything offensively for the most part. Just one shot, and it was a fairly easy effort to be handled for Nick Holiday from Alan Gavilanes.
1.64 of those 1.69 XG for North Carolina came through Rafa Minskin, our player to watch tonight. We knew what an impact he could have against these inexperienced fullbacks of Greenville, and it's proven to be so far. But 45 minutes for Greenville to try and right the ship here, get things going. I'll let you know if we have any substitutions at the break.
Encarnacion waiting for all the players to take the pitch here at Paladin Stadium. A new venue this season for the Greenville Triumph. It's the first time that North Carolina FC is playing at this spot. And like we mentioned in the first half, it's the first time North Carolina FC has ever scored more than 1 goal on the Greenville Triumph.
Don't see any substitutions initially for Greenville. I'm sure we'll perhaps see Jacob Labovitz at some point, perhaps as well as Liam McKinnon. Villanova.
Some of that offensive firepower that may be necessary in this one to get back into the game.
Also underway in Omaha, between Union Omaha and Northern Colorado. Keep an eye on that one, at least for the first half. No goals in Chattanooga, 35th minute there between the Red Wolves and Lexington.
And here we go. Second 45. North Carolina looking to replicate the first 45. Christian Luyoung will throw this in after it immediately rolls out of play. So there will be one change for the Greenville Triumph. Jonah Bigger will come out, and Daniel Wu, who has been unavailable the past 2 games, will come into the game. Daniel Wu, worth noting, from Cary, North Carolina. So going up against the hometown team, he spent 8 years in the North Carolina FC Academy.
of a centre back by trade. That's an interesting one. Unless Polak goes to left back, I didn't see exactly where Daniel was going to settle in. I'm wearing my glasses, Mark. I just didn't look close enough at that huddle, I guess. Let's see Daniel Wu's dark shock of hair stands out in that Greenville huddle. Let's see if we can see here. Looks like we'll go to right back. Gabo to left back, it looks like.
Well, that's how they line up currently.
That's obviously an answer to the domination of Menskin on that right side. Wu, a rookie himself, though. Playing out of position against the hottest scorer in the league. We'll see how this goes.
He does have 2 starts under his belt, though, Daniel Wu.
He does. Dealing with some injuries and a concussion and a leg problem. Not getting healthier, Greenville, as we mentioned. Brandon Fricke on the bench tonight for the first time this season. I don't expect we'll see him, especially if this score remains as it is now. Making his way back from off-season hip surgery. One of the 4 members of the leadership committee that John Harkes has this year. With the Triumph, him, Polak, Lee, and Walker. 4 veterans been around for so long with his team. Brandon Fricke joined them in the 2nd year after his first season with Lansing.
Yeah.
The other 3 have been around since day 1 with the Triumph. John Harkes about the leadership committee early this season. They make some decisions. They'll always come to him before implementing anything, of course. Oops.
Polak slips up but is able to play it back.
Jared Mazzola's first giveaway of the season. Last time it resulted in a goal, and this time luckily Alex Anderson's offside. Mark's praised Jared Mazzola's distribution this week. He's had a couple of wayward moments though so far, but they've been limited since that first giveaway goal that he had earlier this season. Getting better with every, obviously with the goalkeeper, it's just about getting those run of starts, right? Getting comfortable, which Jared didn't do last year behind Paul Christensen. It's likely going to be a good battle between him and Ben Hale. See who would be between the pipes for John Harkes this season. But Ben Hale injured again, as he was last year.
Yeah, kind of forced the decision there.
He's almost been fine. He's made some good acrobatic saves. He's a good shot stopper. The tallest keeper in the world. He seems to play a little bigger because of his athleticism.
Polak pops this one forward, right hand side. Wu crosses it in and ends up bending out. Actually deflected out for a corner kick. It's PNC corner for kids. Greenville been working on those set pieces, but so far they've been lackluster today. We'll see if they can give a tweak at halftime and put something more threatening here.
PNC corners for kids taken by your Greenville Triumph.
Tyler Polak plays it short. Boyce plays it in the middle.
Execution, Mark. I mean, you got the setup right. Just the delivery just poor, to say the least. Frustrating again for John Harkes.
Flores Blanco heads that one out for a throw-in.
Set pieces are just about repetition, right? Practicing and hitting those balls and learning where to put them. And just haven't delivered them to the correct spot so far tonight. So Galbo now gets to deal with the slightly slower Louis Perez, but just as dangerous, especially from distance.
That ball bounced all the way to Nick Holliday. And we'll stop this little offensive spell for Greenville. Have to be so cautious with this tight schedule. We talked a little bit about it in the first half for Greenville. And John Harkes mentioned that this week they had strong winds and heavy rains the last few days, which hasn't helped with their player management. And he mentioned we've had another player pick up something or two in training, and also had Jonah Bigger accidentally play a high school soccer game. Was not supposed to do that. Didn't get the green light on that one. A whoopsie moment for him, and something very believable though for a kid just to be eager to play any game possible.
I just want to know if he had the conversation with his folks that, do I tell Greenville or just, they'll never know. Listen, there's always somebody everywhere watching, right? I always tell my daughter to play softball. So there's always somebody watching that will tell somebody, good or bad, what you do. So the word certainly got back to the Greenville in the end. This Bigger got through it unscathed.
Nothing gonna be called there after some contact was made. Boyce connects with Walker, who nonchalantly plays that back to Lee. Coutinho now. Forward to Castro. Castro outside. Boyce trying to roll it in the middle. It was actually Gavilanes. And this one stepped on. Shot rocketed towards goal, and it's well off the mark.
And Walker with the outside of his left foot. I'm sure his eyes must have been as big as plates when he saw that one bouncing up to him. Unfortunately, it was with his weaker foot. He still made great contact on it. Just shanked it a little bit far wide. Greenville looking a little better here in the final third. Still sort of missing that incisive final ball.
I mean, you look to offensive juggernaut Noah Pilato, the team's leading scorer with 3 goals. He scored one in the last 3 games. This one connects with Pilato. And Walker with some pressure is able to force the throw in. I talked to John Harks a little bit about Pilato, and obviously the story is great because the past 2 years he's just been struggling with injury after injury. Just hasn't been able to play too much. And obviously it's great for him and his morale. But I decided to ask Harks about how much does that improve the attitude of the rest of the team seeing him play. And he said it's huge. They've seen him suffer for the past 2 years, and now they're feeding off the energy he's exuding on the pitch. And then, of course, he goes into the fact that Noah was willing to do the dirty work on the backside, make the uncomfortable plays, but he's also an asset on a late run.
Pilato's one of those energy guys, right? When he's on the pitch and getting forward, and anytime he gets it around the edge of the box, fans get on their feet. We've seen him score some bangers over the years when healthy.
He's already had a couple of those this year now.
There's one thing here. Devin Boyce playing more of a central role. Here he is on the ball now. Coutinho's gone out wide. Something going in the middle. We've seen Coutinho play out wide in the past.
And we've seen Devin Boyce play in the middle before, with Union Omaha, of course.
Yeah, both very flexible.
Wu to Coutinho.
See how much further forward Daniel Wu was getting as well. Bigger, I think, had perhaps one foray forward. Now on the left. See if he can he was getting forward at times in that first half of Sangamo.
Not sure if he prefers the right or the left-hand side. Polak, nice step. And his pass deflects a couple times, and it will fall into the hands of Nick Holiday.
One save so far on the night for Holiday. It was an easy one. Long distance effort from Gavilanes in the first half. An easy night for the 17-year-old.
He's jumped on a cross or two, though. But I still think your point stands.
Look a little more dangerous, though, here to start this half with the formation, slight formation change. Just pushing some more bodies forward as that was taken from the wrong spot.
A swipe from Cervania. Boyce. Gets it back from Coutinho. Boyce up to Gabo. Pilato, good ball to Boyce. The back heel. Gabo still with it. And that one's going to go out. And it should, well, they're going to say it's a goal kick. I'm guessing that that ball rolled off the byline before Gabo was able to get his touch on it.
The spacing just looks a little better, Mark. It seems like they're forcing North Carolina to send some bodies further back, which wasn't happening in the first half. ends up producing more scoring chances.
Pollock stepping in front of Anderson there.
He went through him, I think, Mark, but keep Alex Anderson under wraps tonight. Greenville back four. Hasn't really done a whole lot.
And boy's he been dangerous this season.
He's just so full of pace.
He's playing out of his natural position right now, with Garrett McLaughlin still recovering from an injury in the preseason. John Bradford said that Alex Anderson's mentality and mindset are in a great place. He mentioned he came into the preseason really sharp, and he's been put into that number 9 spot when usually he plays outside, as this one nearly given away.
It's going to be interesting to see what John Bradford does when Garrett McLaughlin's healthy. Obviously a proven goal scorer in this league. Perhaps does he go a little more 4-4-2? McLaughlin and Anderson playing off each other. Do you really want to push Rafa Minskin wider? I don't know. See what happens. Alex Anderson obviously been effective off the bench at times during his career in League One.
Certainly. And always a handful, Alex Anderson.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, if you're a center defender, you see him coming off the bench in the last 15 minutes when you've got tired legs. You've got an early red card in Northern Colorado. The Hailstorm are down to 10 men in the 16th minute. We'll find out exactly what happened there in a minute. Not exactly what Eamon Zaid had in mind, I'm sure, to start that one. Looking for that, to keep that clean sheet streak alive.
What a 180 for that team this year, Northern Colorado Hailstorm. They struggled to ever find clean sheets, and then this year they bulked up defensively in their roster.
So Northern Colorado were close last year, had a great second half to the season. Eamon Zaid reminded me of that. He was a little upset at some of the preseason predictions this year because of the second half that they had last year. He thought they deserved a little more respect. They got off to a great start this season.
So 2 substitutions on the way for North Carolina FC, and here they come. And speaking of the devil, Garrett McLaughlin coming in for Alex Anderson. And then Raheem Somersault, longtime League One man, coming in for Luis Arriaga.
Yeah, straight up subs there. Somersault, a natural defensive midfielder. McLaughlin, striker. Northern Colorado, second yellow in 15 minutes for Stefan Lukic. So their center forward is off. See what they end up doing there. Just trying to shut up shop at Werner. It's pretty easy to do there. Or tight confines.
Oh, certainly. Worth noting, this is pretty standard procedure for North Carolina FC. Both these substitutions were made in the 61st minute in their game against Chattanooga, so virtually the same point in the game here.
Colorado and Omaha, 2 teams that had great U.S. Open Cup runs last year. Unfortunately, USL League One teams are done this season. I asked John Harkes a little bit about it, if he thought perhaps it was the loss of the talent to MLS Next Pro, as well as the CBA limiting the rosters. He said, you're probably right. Combination of those 2 things. Plus, a lot of MLS sides and championship sides are taking this competition more seriously now, putting in stronger sides at earlier rounds.
McLaughlin plays it forward and stretching out Mazzola's there. I think McLaughlin may have been looking to connect with his fellow substitute, Raheem Somersault, who was making the run.
Comfortable save in the end from Mazzola. McLaughlin coming off the injury, pick up his minutes here and there until he gets fully fit.
And like you were saying, I think those championship teams, those MLS teams, they don't really want to get embarrassed anymore after what happened last year. I mean, last year was crazy in the Open Cup. League One representing phenomenally well.
While it's disappointing for the USL League One, it's good for the overall competition, right, to see these teams taking it seriously.
Well, what did John Hark say? He said, we're in year 5 of USL League One, and we're talking about how upset we are that we didn't have cup sets this season.
Yeah. There weren't many cup sets either on the championship side of things either. A lot of MLS teams winning games. Sacramento's still alive. How many other USL Championship sides do we have alive?
That's a good question that I don't have an answer to at hand. There's a few though.
Just testing you out.
And a couple of them are hosting too. I know Monterey Bay and Sacramento Republic are both hosting.
down in Gabo.
Gabo just getting back to fitness. Just his second appearance this season. Of course, his first 2 appearances in the professional realm.
Yeah, Birmingham, Charleston, Loudon, Memphis, Monterey Bay, New Mexico, Pittsburgh, and Sacramento. More than I thought. We are going to broadcast all 16 games in the next round, which is good to see. Some of the teams are doing their own broadcasts until this point, but all 16 games will be done. I'm not going to say properly. It's not the word. It's not the right word, but done by
standardized.
Yes. Obviously, the top 8 teams now from MLS last season entering the competition in the next round: Austin, Dallas, Galaxy, LAFC, New York City, the Red Bulls, Orlando, and Philadelphia all jumping in here in the round of 32.
Of course, Orlando, the reigning champs of the U.S. Open Cup, knocking off Sac Republic in the final.
Orlando will head to Charlotte FC, not Independence, obviously, in the next round.
So we're going to get 2 more substitutions, including a big one for the Greenville Triumph. Brandon Fricke making his return, and Jacob Labovitz will come into the game as well. These substitutions brought to you by Spinks. Fricke comes in for Gabo, and Labovitz in for Castro.
Didn't think we'd see Brandon Fricke with a 2-0 deficit, but good to get him some minutes. Obviously, it's not a recent injury. He's been making his way back from, as mentioned, off-season hip surgery.
And look, Bullock already outside at his left back spot. Avalanez. A couple of spin cycles there. Walker switching the pitch. Wu heading it centrally. Not a bad ball there from Daniel Wu. But it was enough space for Nick Holliday to close into. And now North Carolina going the other way. Just too far ahead of McLaughlin. We'll get a free kick here for North Carolina FC, and I think we're going to get another substitution here.
Yeah, John Hart's not wasting any more time. Make an offensive substitution here as Noah Pallado makes his way off the pitch for Liam McKinnon. Got some good minutes as a rookie. Showing some flashes off the bench.
Has an assist this year, the Swiss man. The substitution brought to you by Spinks.
See where he goes. Looks like he's going out to the right side, perhaps moving Coutinho back inside. Now more of a 4-1-4-1 perhaps. See what Labovitz, if he pushes forward.
Here's Cervania. Cervania still holding it. Plays it out to Young, Lou Young. His ball comes in, headed away by Walker, and then Boyce gets the extra touch on it. Avalanez rips that one off a North Carolina FC player, getting the throw in. Paco Craig leads Miami FC into Kentucky to face Josh Winder in the reigning Eastern Conference winners, Louisville City FC. Don't miss the start of the new season of the USL on ESPN Saturday, May 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. McLaughlin chests that one down, then it comes right back to him. Perez to McLaughlin with some space. McLaughlin tried the tight angle shot, and it hits the side netting.
He's getting involved, Garrett McLaughlin. He's a little rusty, as you can tell. Expect him to put that one on frame. Even from that tight angle, of his striking ability.
36 goals and 13 assists in 4 years of USL League One action. McLaughlin, a seasoned striker for League One. Of course, only 25 years old. Mikey Maldonado getting up. You mentioned a little bit about his transition earlier. I talked to John Bradford about it because I was taken aback by that because he was such a natural out on the left-hand side, and John Bradford said it was a part of our conversations with him in the offseason. He's an underrated passer. He presses extremely well. He has all the traits to be a great six, and we told him that if he came to play for us, that's where he'd play. And he mentioned he's been getting better every game and could become the best six in the league in his opinion. And he mentioned that Maldonado loves it too. He likes being in the spine of the formation as opposed to being outside, which is where he used to play and where we grew familiar with him at Madison.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you see the amount of wide talent being brought in, considering Anderson a wide talent, right? Not more of a central player where he's playing at the moment, but you say, okay, well, if I'm going to get on the pitch, it's going to be at 6. That's fine with me. So many solid sixes in the history of USL League One, right?
Yeah. I love me some number 6s and I love me some center backs, right, in that core of the formation.
Greenville missing there at 6 tonight. Tevin Shaw wasn't listed on the injury report during the week. Not exactly sure what happened with him. Been playing right back, obviously, as a fill-in with all the injury troubles Greenville have been experiencing early this season. What a good job he's been doing back there, Tevin Shaw. No sign of him tonight in the 18. Benton Evans left out as a coach's decision. First time they've been able to do that this season, Greenville.
A step in the right direction.
John Hart said at one point during the preseason they had 13 available players for one game. Obviously not a huge squad, but still. Perez now.
Still going forward with it. He decides to shoot. It's off the mark, but like you said, Ross, you got to hold your breath when he takes a shot from distance. He has the capacity. Mazzola will put this in. Yeah, it's been a tough early start to the season for Greenville in that regard. And I know one big mentality that a lot of these coaches have is to not get too high, not get too low. And I was talking to John Harks, and I asked him, going into that Fuego game, there was definitely the not get too low mentality across the group. They were keeping their spirits up. And I said, is it kind of opposite this week after getting 2 straight wins, or are they even keeled? And he said, yeah, they're all pretty level-headed. They know it's a long season, and yeah, they've been tested, they've been fighting, and they're still on their feet through some adversity. You mentioned one of the reasons why they were able to get 2 positive results was because they had some stability on that back line. They didn't have to keep shaking it up, and that's helped Jared Mazzola get more comfortable.
Yeah, mentioned in a previous game, it was a rough run to start, but I think the focus was more on, because it was the start of the season. If you'd had a rough run like that in the middle of the season, you might not have really got too concerned.
Yeah.
Because it was at the start. So I meant to have a rough run at one point in the middle of last year. They're just fine.
Oh. As this one nearly headed through on goal. Came off of what I believe Labovitz.
I think Holiday was beaten. I'm not sure how. Greenville played. I'm not sure why Holiday didn't come for that in the first place. It was very close to his goal. There were some bodies in the way. He wasn't the tallest, as I mentioned previously.
That PNC's corner for Kidd taken quickly. Now back inside, headed away by Summersall. The volley from McKinnon is going to go to, the stratosphere there.
Halfway to carry them.
I'll have to make sure that some of the staff at the Wake Med Soccer Complex are keep an eye on the sky.
The Tormenta game expected to kick off at 8:50. Try and keep an eye on what's going on over there.
A little bit of a entanglement there, and let's look at a close look at Brandon Fricke for the first time this season.
Yeah, John Hart said he was going to be careful. That's why I'm surprised to see Fricky tonight with his recovery. I mentioned not an injury, so unlikely to be able to have anything reoccur.
We're seeing there already a lot of talking from Brandon Fricky. I asked about Evan Lee and how he stepped up in Fricky's absence, and the big thing that Hark said is that, well, Brandon Fricky's the vocal guy on the back line. He's the talker of the group. I mentioned Evan Lee has stepped up in his absence, but Fricky's the voice you're going to hear all across the pitch. So they'll love to have that commander. There he is, yeah.
See him shoving Evan Lee, telling him to get where he should be.
Ball comes in. Yeah, that was dangerous. High boot there from Lucas Coutinho.
Coutinho's got to be careful here. Find himself in the book for dissent. It's the right call. Can't read lips, but couldn't quite catch what Joshua Encarnacion was telling Lucas Coutinho. A frustrating night for the reigning player of the week.
It's been all about building that confidence for Coutinho.
Just one touch in the opponent's box tonight for Lucas Coutinho.
John Harkes always raves about his ball control and how well he can move the ball at his feet. That was a good touch. Maybe a little bit too far ahead.
Seems like we're on track in Tormenta for a restart in about 15 minutes or so.
You hope. You gotta cross your fingers and hope that it's in 15 minutes. You never know. I'll tell you what, Tormenta earns their namesake. Roll out harmlessly for both sides. Christine Liu Young will throw this one back into play. And
it's a quiet night, hasn't had much to do. Really sweaty. 60% possession for Greenville. They've actually had 55 final third entries compared to 40 for NCFC. Just haven't been able to turn into quality scoring chances.
So we're going to get a substitution here for the visitors. Louis Perez, the first goal scorer in this game, will come off, and Preston Pop will come into the game. Former member of the North Carolina FC Academy.
Best names in USL League.
Oh, yeah.
Always love a bit of alliteration. Good performance tonight by Perez. I'm not sure how much he knew about the goal. Seemed like it more hit him in the knee. He was in the right place at the right time. Oh, careful.
Talking about right place at the right time, is that is a fantastic stretch and deflection from Nick Holiday. Labovitz trying to catch him.
I'm wondering if Jacob Labovitz should put a bit of air on this one. It was a poor first touch, and that led to the pressure. It's kind of bouncing upwards though. Labovitz perhaps could have tried to knock it over Holiday, although Fernandez was tracking back and may have got there anyway.
Quick snap decision from Labovitz as this ball comes in. The header is off the mark.
There's Brandon Fricky getting forward. They've missed his aerial ability. A goal here would certainly make the last 15 minutes interesting.
15 more minutes to go. And that long ball up the pitch. Well, I thought it was hopeless at first. Actually ended up being pretty close.
Rafa Menskin putting on the Jets there. John Bradford said he's faster than he looks. Sneaky fast, careful.
You mentioned earlier also how much he loves what he's doing right now. He's enjoying playing soccer enjoys the guys, the games, practicing. He mentioned that he had to tell Rafa on several occasions to not go to the fields and take 600 shots on off days. Like, take a break, please.
He got 17 USL League One goals coming into this game in 71 appearances. Certainly finding his goal-scoring touch here early on. See, one was a penalty. But the threat, especially in that first half hour or so, just a nightmare for Hassan Gabo.
Every prolific goal scorer collects some penalty goals over time.
Obviously had that massive playoff goal last year for Chattanooga.
Down a man. He's had some fantastic goals, eye candy goals throughout his time.
A former teammate of Brandon Fricky then at Lansing, first year. A chance for Greenville here to put something together perhaps. Make these last few minutes interesting. We have a goal in Omaha. Union Omaha taking the lead against 10-men Hailstorm.
Only 3 undefeated teams left in USL League One coming into today. We had 2 of them play earlier, Charlotte and Madison, and they ended a draw, so they're still undefeated. The Hailstorm, the other one, now, of course, on the precipice of leaving that category.
Junior Palacios with the goal for the home team. And a long way back now for the Hailstorm with that man down.
Three players around the ball here for Greenville. Boyce trying to let one fly, but it gets smothered on impact.
You can see John Hark's frustration at another set piece going wrong. Spent all that time in training, what for? Well dealt with by NCFC, but
really nice from Labovitz there. Gavolania squares it. The flag goes up. Wouldn't have resulted to anything. Good touch from Labovitz there to start things off. Another look at it.
It's close.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good stop in the end by Stop, and a good interception on the cross by Holiday. He did fumble it. There's no danger though. It's been a comfortable night for Nick Holiday.
Looking for a second straight clean sheet. As Labovitz is able to get that one out to McKinnon.
John Bradford was saying he was stunned that Holiday hasn't been recalled to the USA national team setup as a youth. U17 World Cup coming up soon.
Well, he's 17 now. Well, I don't know where the cutoff is for that.
I think he might still be eligible.
Yeah, you'd be hard-pressed to find many 17-year-olds with the professional experience that Nick Holiday has.
Yeah, U17 World Cup coming up in November. And USA already qualified. And with Mexico, Canada, and Panama from CONCACAF.
Another substitution for the Triumph. Coutinho's out. Alex Cox-Ashwood comes in. His 4th appearance of the season, Alex Cox-Ashwood. Although at many stretches of time, only plays limited minutes. He has the capability to step up when his name is called in a bigger sense. That substitution brought to you by Spinks.
Just looking at the most recent squad for USA U17. It's crazy seeing kids that play for Barcelona, Liverpool, Eintracht Frankfurt in there.
Cox-Ashwood, the cross inside, it's headed away. I think Eintracht Frankfurt was one of the teams that has worked out Nick Holiday at a point in time. Boyce clears that one away. 10 minutes to go in this one. Greenville looking more positive here in the second half, but with how dominant North Carolina FC were in the first half, that is how we find ourselves at the 2-0 scoreline. 2 penalties awarded to North Carolina FC. One initially saved, but then the rebound deflection goal from Luis Perez made it 1-0, and then Rafa Mensingen would get the chance to go to the spot a second time, and he would make do with it on the second go around. As Boyce hobbles back up to his feet. One of the players that had to get eased back in this season to start off because he wasn't at 100% health to start the year, Devin Boyce. He certainly doesn't play like he's recently hurt, though. He's a guy that flies all around all the time. Never scared of a collision. Mensingen lays this in. Somersault. Acrobatic effort there. Amazola will quickly bring this one down the pitch. Gavilanes is another one of those players who are still working back to full health and full strength. Call there on Pop. Pop on Polak.
See if we can get this delivery right. This one's a little further away.
I'm not sure if you're in drawn up play territory. Well, he'll just square it across. Boyce, he's going to shoot it. I guess I've been proven wrong. Still had something in mind there.
I mean, I guess nothing else works. You might as well try something like that. Set piece situation with Greenville.
It's just been fruitless.
Let's mention their next game against Charlotte on Wednesday. I'll be bringing you that one. Midweek action
at American Legion Memorial Stadium. Yellow card being issued out here. That's Preston Pop getting his second yellow card of the season.
North Carolina, meanwhile, will take the long trip out to Fresno. Take on Central Valley next weekend. Followed up by a home game against Madison and a home game against Richmond midweek. A bit of a calmer schedule for the visitors. That's a poor giveaway. A chance for NCFC to break.
Raheem Somersault making his way down the pitch. Somersault into the center. Tapped away, and it's over the head of Cervania.
Somersault won that one back. Just got caught in two minds in the ball. In between two attackers as well.
Gavilanes blasts forward. McKinnon with the one-touch pass. Maldonado playing it back, but stepping on it is Cox Ashwood. Here's McKinnon. Ryan McKinnon trying to play it centrally. Now Mazzola will come forward and get things going again for the Greenville Triumph. Greenville building up once again. Ball inside. And that ball will arch over top of everybody. And then a corner kick will be prevented. Actually, it was not prevented. So we're gonna get a PNC's corner for kids. So both sides will start loading themselves into the 18 as Boyce trots over. Two substitutions on the docket for North Carolina FC. Of course, they're going to have to hold their breath.
NCFC, no shots on target this half. Greenville have done a good job defensively. Just one shot on target themselves in the second 45 minutes, though.
Devin Boyce with this PNC's corner for kids.
Certainly been a little more effective since the break. See if they can turn that effectiveness into a goal here, even if it ends up being a consolation. So subs walk by them.
So Cervania as well as Mensingen have their nights completed. Devin Benton and Max Flick come in. Polak plays in the center, and it's knocked away once again. Those two substitutions, the opposite of like for like, two defensive players coming in for Cervania and Mensingen.
Shutting up shop, as we say, Mark.
Got the 2-goal advantage, and now he's got to see it through.
Deep block, just trying to limit the chances to stuff from distance.
Greenville fans, ScanSource is the official partner, or one of the official partners of the Greenville Triumph, accelerating growth for partners and calling Greenville home for 30 years.
Finally underway in Georgia. Tormenta against Richmond.
Thank goodness.
Shooting over to that one after this.
This PNC's corner for kids is taken. Headed straight up by Cox Ashwood. Brought down once again. Lee trying the shot. Labovitz now. He waited for that ball.
He did. He judged the spin very well. It's going to be a goal kick in the end. It's equally as good work by Fernandez.
Gustavo Fernandez, who went down a couple times in the first half, but is still on the pitch and doing well.
NCFC haven't had to do much in the final third, Mark. They really haven't been, just been comfortable the second half, right? They've never really looked under too much pressure. They've had some spells, but never looked overly dangerous. Haven't been able to get that crucial first goal that would have made things interesting.
So far, that's been the indicator of wins and losses for Greenville this season. Haven't had any draws yet, and the winner of every Greenville Triumph game this season has been the team to score first.
A couple of coaches we've talked to have talked about the importance of that first goal in USL League One, because there aren't a ton of game breakers in this league, right? Guys that can really turn a game around in a matter of seconds. And teams are very adept at just sitting back and holding on to leads in this league.
Yeah, not too many players that you can just dare to score on you.
Rafa Menskin turning into one, though, perhaps.
Yeah, I was about to say, Emiliano Terzaghi is the only guy that I could say confidently that you don't just dare to take a chance.
He relies on good service, though, right? We've seen this season so far how he's been kept relatively quiet, because Richmond haven't been as effective without a couple of their key midfield parts. It's 2-0 now to Union Omaha. +3 there. Good time to score your second goal.
Certainly. Fricky put in an awkward spot, and Preston Pop will win the ball off of him. As we get into stoppage time, we're going to get 4 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep.
Noe Meza with the goal for Omaha.
One of the returnees for Omaha this season.
Second goal of the season for him. Scored 4 first half goals this year, Omaha. And North Carolina have scored more, with 7.
Wow, how about that?
2 of those tonight. This game is just limping to a conclusion. Disappointing for Greenville. Carolina just came out the box quickly, had their attacking plan in place to go at Hassan Gabo. His 2 fouls resulted in 2 penalties. That was that, right, as it turns out.
Well, it's limping to a conclusion, but North Carolina FC will feel very good with this result. It actually puts them in first place in the table out of it, as they'll be tied at 13 points with Charlotte. They're in-state rivals and have a better goal differential of 6 versus 4. +6 and +4, by the way. I'm sure you could garner that information on your
living
own.
up to expectations so far after all those off-season moves. John Bradford had to put that jigsaw puzzle together. Done very well so far. Pollack getting into the box, still looking for his first career League One goal.
It'll be a glorious day when that occurs.
He may just walk off the pitch and retire right then and there.
Right then and there, yep.
If it's a late goal or if they go up 4-0 or something, just run straight into the locker room after the celebration. So done.
A little bit precarious there from Jared Mazzola. Somersault stumbling down with Aaron Walker bearing in on him. Maldonado will play this back to Holiday. Decided to hit that on the bounce, which can always be a little bit of a dangerous move for a keeper. You never know if you just accidentally whiff it. You have a higher probability of that than if it's a rolling ball. Especially, of course, when you've got a young keeper, the one who's going up to it. Not exactly Manuel Neuer.
Yet.
Not yet, that's true.
Big shoes, though. Nick Holiday would be happy just to be the next in line of those great American goalies to go to Europe and find success.
Certainly. Well, whenever that happens, and I'm sure it's going to,
once he turns 18, I think that's when the wheels will start turning.
He'll have a whole pool of League One fans pulling for him. Lavovitz.
Hell of a throw.
He knows how to throw it as this one played forward by Wu. Suffered some deflections. He showed he could do it last season, and man, it's like a trebuchet. Ball comes in, headed down towards goal. And that's a career first for Daniel Wu at the death of the game.
Good for him. He's been impressive since coming on. He's been getting forward well.
The 6-foot rookie rising up. Here it is again.
It's a perfectly played ball in and a great finish.
Yeah, look at that form. I mean, that's textbook right there. Textbook for the Georgetown Hoya, scoring against his academy.
Starting into the deep end earlier this season with the injuries to that Greenville Triumph backline, and he was doing well. A couple of mistakes, as you would expect from a rookie, until he got injured, the concussion and the groin issue, and that will do it. At least some consolation from this one.
Your final score here, North Carolina FC going on the road and getting another victory, putting them atop the table for John Bradford's side. Now 4-1-1 to start the year. They mean business this season.
Deserved win. Frustrating night for John Harkes.
They got to quickly turn around and put this one on the back burner with Charlotte. A road trip on Wednesday. Meanwhile, North Carolina FC, they're going across the country to play Central Valley Fuego. Coming on Friday, though, worth minding. with that. Although the 90 minutes have transpired, we still got some post-game content coming your way, so we'll step aside briefly. We'll see you on the other end on ESPN+.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location,
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
Closing thoughts here at Paladin Stadium for this 2-1 victory for North Carolina FC on the road over the Greenville Triumph. Mark Schoenster alongside me, Ross Davenport, here on ESPN+. Let's take a look at the highlights from these 90 minutes, brought to you by GSP International Airport. Starting in the 18th minute, it was this penalty called on Hassan Gabo that got things going for North Carolina FC.
Well, listen, the touch by Rafa Minskin into the box there was what led to that penalty. It could have gone anywhere off his shoulder/chest. Clearly targeting Hassan Gabo early, the visitors, his first pro start. He had a couple of mistakes early. That was at least the third foul perhaps on him, but then the penalty was saved, and I think Perez needed it, I'm going to say, Mark.
I'm not sure. Either way, unfortunate for Mazzola, fortunate for North Carolina FC. They'd go up 1-0, but it wouldn't be the last time they'd go to the penalty spot because they'd get this call right here. Cervania trying to split the defenders, and Gabo turns around and gives him a little of a rear check, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah, I'll say it was a weak call, but as I said earlier, you can see Gabo turn his back to the player. When you do that, give the referee perhaps an easier call. It was certainly debatable.
You're asking for
the lead
trouble.
wasn't debatable, though. That's for sure. They deserved the lead in the break. Did NCFC.
And second half, more favorable to the Triumph, and before the final whistle, we get a first career goal. Daniel Wu scoring against the team he spent his time in academy with.
Well, congrats to Daniel. He looked impressive when he came on. Was out wide for a bit and then went to center back.
And here are your full-time stats brought to you by Coca-Cola. Greenville Triumph really turned it around in the second half statistically, but at the end of the day, they weren't able to conjure up anything all too dangerous until the dying moments of the match. North Carolina FC just 39% possession, but with how dangerous they were in the first half, and in the second half they were kind of just bunkered down and holding on until the final whistle.
No, by far the better team in this one deserved the win. Just held on a little bit in the second half, but they were playing, sitting back a little bit. Quite comfortable with that 2-0 lead to the last second.
Just daring the pressure, daring for Greenville to come up with something on their own. And that is where this one wraps up. Trips to Fresno and a short turnaround and trip to Charlotte for these two sides. But for this broadcast, for this matchup, our entire broadcasting crew, Ross Davenport, I'm Mark Schoenster here to tell you, thank you for tuning in. We knew it was a busy day of League One, so we appreciate you checking us out and watching this one. Hope you have a fantastic night, and we'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.